All right. We had a patch yesterday, and sometimes I read the patch notes on stream, and sometimes I don't. And when I do, it's usually because there's something very interesting there. And this one, Star Citizen Alpha 318, Y on the PTU, has a couple things that I think are pretty interesting. So let's dive in and check that out a little bit. This patch was a pretty big disaster. Basically, there's a sphere issue where if you die, you just can't load back into the game. And you just have to account reset and stuff. So it's not a great situation. The known issues list is still incredibly long, while the bug fix list is also incredibly long, as have been most of these. But the thing that I want to touch on is this. It's a feature update saying vehicle/ship armor has been rebalanced to account for ballistic piercing through shields as a stopgap until the future armor rework. So there's a few things to unpack here with this. I never knew that they were simulating armor in the first place. I'm not much of a PvP player. And when I do PvP, I'm not really looking into the nitty gritty stats. And basically, GW Glory in chat says armor or HP. I immediately said, oh, so they just added more HP to the ships. No. So, with that said, let's go over here to this website. It's called Tanzer. It's like Urkel, but I think a little bit less visual and a little bit more of... at least they were quicker getting this update up. So this is updated for patch 318 Y on the PTU. And the stats that I want you to see, I got to scroll up. It's right above my head here. It's called incoming physical damage reduction, incoming energy damage reduction, incoming distortion damage reduction. And right now we have the Gladius and the Arrow being compared. This is the updated to the patch that we were just looking at now. Incoming physical damage reduction for this ship. So once you're through the shields of the Gladius, 50% of the damage done by physical ammo will be just shrugged off. Okay? Same thing with the Arrow. It's 54%. Now, the next question is, what was it before? Well, I have that because Urkel is not updated yet. The previous Gladius and Arrow, the Gladius was a 3% physical damage reduction and a 10% energy reduction. And if you look back, it's a 0% energy reduction on both ships now. So they removed the 10% and really upped the physical. I will link to both sites, okay? And the Arrow had 4% and 10%. So that is something to pay attention to. Now, what I will say is people have done some tests, and the differences have been very negligible. So just ship standing still, it's like a 1 to 2 second difference maybe on blowing up even some of the larger ships. So the smaller ones are probably like completely negligible. And the reason I think that probably is let's actually head over to Tanzer again, and you could see the total HP of a ship. And I can only imagine with 9,000 HP how much damage physicalized like ammo is doing, that you're probably hitting the 9,000 HP mark on some of these smaller ships very quickly. But even on something like the Reclaimer, who has massive amounts of HP, let's see if I can click it. I've never used the site before. 89,000 HP. It was dead in, I think somebody said like 26 seconds in the previous patch and 28 seconds in this one. So it's either not working or they're doing an insane amount of damage with physical weapons anyway. But what I want to discuss instead, because I think it's what really matters here, is their intention. And their intentions are to simulate armor, because this year we may not even get the master modes, right? So this team is focused on what? They're focused on one thing and one thing only, and it is only Squadron 42. And it is what it is. But I think people are kind of weirded out by the fact that they're making these band-aids for systems that appear to be coming soon. They're not. That's how I read this, is they are not coming soon, and they are trying to find stopgaps, and they're trying to simulate the experience they want to give you without giving you the really well done version of it. And part of me thinks that stinks, and part of me thinks that is awesome. And the part of me that thinks that is awesome is the part of me that goes, yeah, this team kind of gets it, and they understand that the combat community in this game wants to have a good, as best of an experience as they can with the state of the game as they can, and they don't want to deal with basically what they dealt with last year, which was almost no updates after the initial like apocalyptic change, right? And I look at this as, at least they're trying, but it's not a good situation in the sense of it's going to be a long time until we get the next apocalyptic change, which would be master modes. And then after that, it appears to be armor, right? So we're talking a year plus to get to armor. So they're doing something about it. So that's how I look at it. But as a non-PvP player, I don't know how this will affect the metas. I don't know, are you going to run only ballistics still? Are you going to run more lasers? Are you going to do mixing and matching? I don't know what the metas will be. I don't understand any of that. And I have no desire to until we are getting closer to the actual system. And then I plan on putting in the work. But I just thought it was something really interesting to point out to you guys. And I guess just let me know what you guys think. But yeah, I find that to be very, very interesting. And as far as like bug fixes and stuff, the only one that stuck out to me was something with the Gray Cat rock that we found the other day, and where it fills up past the intended capacity. That is not the issue that I found. I did fill up what the past the intended capacity was, but they were doing the math wrong on how heavy a rock was. So, or like a gem was. So, yeah, sort of interesting. We'll have to see if they change that. So I'm going to go in game and figure that one out. But that was the one fix that kind of, I guess this one Cryastro services working more consistently. But yeah. And then the usual, like, fix tons of server crashes, tons of client crashes, and hopefully it gets a little bit better. But that was the 318Y patch notes, which, you wouldn't think would deliver so much content, but it is very interesting to kind of read into all this and what it might mean. And I think it just means that we're ways away. That's all.